Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work through this file here. So I had already copied and pasted it, the first cell. So again, let me just explain what this means. So we have an import statement. I can't remember if we've used, excuse me, if we've used this exact syntax before, but we're saying from manum import star. So what this means is it's going to import all of the functions and packages, etc., from this package called manum. Otherwise, if we didn't do that, we could use import manum as, let's say, man, M-A-N, and whenever we wanted to use a manum function, we would have to type in man dot whatever the function is. But this way, by doing from manum import star, the star means import everything. We could import, specific functions and packages and that sort of thing. But if we do star, this is like a regular expression thing that just says import everything. Just somehow wasn't including that part below the X.
Yeah.
That didn't seem to be what was happening.
This also didn't have the fractional points, so maybe that's even
That might have something to do with it too, yeah.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
for the sanity check.
Oh boy. Well, sorry about that. I don't know what you just saw. Okay, so then what we have here, we're going to do import star. It imports all of the functions from manum. Okay, so now there is a manum configuration file, and it says we want the media width to be 75%. I think that means like 75% of this box here. And the verbosity equals warning is going to tell us all of the warnings it gives. So we could change this to other things as well, where it doesn't give us any information, or it gives us more information when we actually try to run a command and see what happens. Okay, so next, again, we have all of this stuff. I'm just going to copy and paste all of this and then talk about it. Why is this? Okay, come over here, paste everything. Okay, so let's go through this kind of line by line. So this right here, so again, manum is a program. Now, if you were doing this on, let's say, a command line, or you're using like Visual Studios or some IDE, you would run this command, more or less this command on a command line. The % here, this is sort of a Jupyter thing. This is called Jupyter Magic, I think, and it lets you sort of go out and run this command line on a command terminal and then execute whatever happens. So this percentage just lets us run a command on a command line in Jupyter. Okay, so manum is the name of the program. So again, think about this line as being something that you would type into a command line, and this is what gets executed. So manum is the name of the program. -qm, what this says is the quality. So the Q is for quality, and the M is a level of quality. So there's L, M, and H. So H is high def. Okay, but it takes longer to render, so just do medium as you're practicing to see what happens, and then when you actually want the thing that you're going to use, you can change this to high def to see how it changes, and it won't be much of a difference here, as we'll see. Okay, now circle to square. The circle to square here is the circle to square here. So the way manum works is there is sort of a class called scene, and then there are things called subclasses. So we didn't talk much about subclasses when we were talking about classes. I don't think we did. But you can write a class and then write something called a subclass. And what this does, it just means everything that the parent class has, the subclass also has access to. All of the methods and the variables, everything that the parent class has, all of the subclass or the child class, that class has access to that as well. So scene is this huge class in manum, and I'll put links where you can look at different there's sort of a like an API that tells you all of the functions that manum can do and stuff like that. I'll post links to that. But there's a sort of main manum class called a scene. Everything in manum is a scene, and now we're going to make our own class called circle to square, and when we put scene in parentheses here, it means we are inheriting from this class scene. And scene inherits from other classes and so on and so forth. Now, every scene class has a method called construct. And essentially, when you run this command, Manum is going to go to the class called circle to square, and it's going to do this method here called construct. And so what it's going to do is going to make something called a blue circle. Now circle is a class inside Manum as well, and it's going to make a circle. The color is going to be equal to blue, and the fill opacity is going to be equal to 0.5. The higher, the more opaque it is, the lower, the less opaque. Okay, sorry, got a phone call. Okay, so now, again, it's going to create something called a blue circle, which is a circle, and its color is blue, and its fill opacity is 0.5. Again, we're going to play around with stuff like this, but just from the work we've done so far, a circle, we know what a circle, I mean, we don't know what a circle is. I mean, we know what a circle is mathematically. Circle is a class in Manum, and this is going to make a circle. The color is going to be blue, and the fill opacity is going to be 0.5. We've done very similar things before, like when we made that function class for your homework assignment, or the project and the homework. And now we have a green square again. The color is green, and the fill opacity is 0.5. So now, as Manum is going through this method here, it's got now two different circles: a blue circle, a green circle. Next, it's going to do self.play. It's going to create a blue circle. Now create, again, this is this is a thing inside Manum. It knows how to create a blue circle. And now this is basically going to give an animation. And when we do self.play, it's going to play that animation. So this is an animation. You can think of it that way. And when we do self.play, again, self referring to the class that we're in, is going to do create the blue circle. Now remember, or observe that our class, this is our whole class here. So there's this method called play and this method called wait that we haven't defined. This is all part of the scene parent class. Okay, and then self.wait, I think the default time here is 1 second, but if you put like a, if you put like a 10 here, for example, it'll wait 10 seconds. Okay, so now what's going to happen, it's going to transform the blue circle to a green square. And again, the good thing about, or not again, but the good thing about Manum is that it knows how to do all of this stuff. So imagine, I mean, I don't know if you will ever want to draw a blue circle and then make it transform to a green square. But the point is, you can imagine how you might want to make an animation where it does all of this cool, like smooth things going from this point to this point. Maybe you have like an octagon that you want to turn into a 9-gon to a 10-gon, 11-gon, so on and so forth, and have that kind of smoothly transform into a circle, something like that. Manum knows how to do all of these different transformations to go from one mathematical object, in this case a blue circle, to another mathematical object, in this case a green square. So mathematical object, this is shortened to mobject, M-object, and it's a thing in Manum. So the circle and the square are both subclasses of something called mathematical object. Actually, I think square, like, you know, in geometry, a square is a subclass of maybe a parallelogram, and parallelogram is a subclass of polygon, and polygon is a subclass of mathematical object. But all of these dependencies and inheritances can be seen, like tracked in the document, in the documentation. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to run this, and what's going to happen if everything goes correctly, right down here, there will be a video cell that pops up to play this. So let's hope everything works well. Okay, everything going well so far. If FFmpeg isn't installed correctly, it will have a problem. So look at this. This is what we have here. Excellent. Okay, so there we go. So that is it for this video. We've got our first Manum program done, and then we will look through some of the other stuff, some of the other things that we can do as we go along for this week.